Hi everyone, welcome back to RTS. And what are we going to do today? Today at RTS we are going to revamp the skills and we're going to learn something new today. Now some of this may not be new for some of you, but it may spark an idea for something else you need. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to learn something new. Don't you just love to learn something new every day? I do, even if it's just something small. I love learning something new. So what we're going to do today is we're going to work on photo mat ideas. And the reason we're going to do that is because one of my subscribers, her name is Judith, she asked me if I could give her some photo matting ideas because right now she's working on 8x8 albums and she's kind of stuck. And I thought, absolutely. And so Judith, I have a baker's dozen worth of ideas for you for photo matting because I have done that in the past. I have given many gifts that were blank albums where you don't have the photos, and I've also done commission work where you have to take in consideration what the person who's going to be getting that album, what they're using it for. So I do have some ideas I think I can help you with, and also too it has to be in such a way that's affordable and something with not a lot of bulk because you are making an album. And also Judith is in an area where supplies aren't readily available, so you have to take that into consideration. So again, I have a few ideas. Now the first thing I want to talk about, and I have my notes here and hopefully I can read them all. I think I need a clipboard or something. Oh, anyways, okay, so I want to give some tips for some gift albums because like I said, I've been scrapbooking a long time, and so I've done a lot of gift albums. I've done a lot of commissioned work for businesses, and in that, you're doing an album and that the whole entire album is empty. You're not putting any photo in because it's commissioned work. They're going to do that when they get the album. And so there's some things I've learned along the way. So when I did commission work, there was not additional any sizes other than 6x6. So you know how long ago that was. So now there's so many different sizes, which is awesome. So Judith was saying she's working on 8x8, and that's why I have these photo mats here as far as these background papers. Not photo mats, background papers. And so this can be done for any size page or album you're doing. I just wanted to give Judith a representation so she could see. So we're going to go over them. The first tip I want to say is when you're doing a gift album, no matter if you're doing 6x6, 8x8, 9x9, 8.5x11, 12x12, you have to assume that the person who's getting the gift, and you may know them, you may not know them, you have to assume that, they're probably not going to be a crafter or a scrapbooker because they would be doing it themselves, right? So one thing you have to consider right off the bat is that they are probably only going to understand and be comfortable with a 4x6 photo size. So, you can do albums where you're doing wallets and you're doing 4x4s and Polaroids. That's good for someone who's a crafter or a scrapbooker, but you have to take in consideration that the person who's getting this gift will only understand or comprehend or deal or print in a 4x6 size. So I recommend to people that are making gift albums, especially for new scrapbookers, because you want to share your hobby, right? So I say stick with the concept that you're going to be working with 4x6 photos and 4x6 photos only, because that means that the person who's getting the gift album can just take their photos anywhere and be printed in 4x6 size. They don't need a trimmer. They don't need scissors. They don't need to worry about orientation and things like that. Okay, so that's my number one tip. Just assume and do your gift albums in a 4x6 photo size. Okay, so the second thing is when you're making a gift album, you need to have printed up, and just consider that this whole thing would be printed with these wordings. And it says 4x6 photo here, and I'll show you why in a minute. But just assume that I did this the whole entire page, and then you'd have quite a few for your whole album. Okay, and then once you do this document, save it, and then for your next gift album, it'll already be done. Okay, and so what you do then is you just cut these out. Okay, and so I'm going to pull a little 4x6 mat here. So let's just assume we're doing, this is you're not going to have a photo, but this would be the mat for a 4x6 photo. So to do a 4x6 photo mat, one of the measurements you need to just get in your head is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So this is the 4x6 photo, and then you're just adding 1/4 inch. Okay, so it's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Okay, so but you're not going to have this, but you're going to be using this on your page, correct? You're going to be using this on your page. However you're going to do your background page, say this is your, move these pretty little papers, say this is your page you're doing, because Judith is working on an 8x8 albums. Okay, so there's your mat. Again, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then you're going to take these and you're going to make these up ahead of time, and you're simply going to place them right there. And then it doesn't matter if your orientation of your photo is going to be horizontal or vertical. Okay? And I'll tell you why. Because someone gets a gift album, and if they don't understand what to do, your work is just going to sit there and it's not going to be enjoyed and it's not going to be used because they simply just don't know, because they're not crafters, they're not scrapbookers. So what you do is you use these removable adhesive rolls and you just put a tad on there and you're just going to stick that in the middle. Okay? And that's the easiest way to do that. And so some people will say, well, why wouldn't you just print that on your photo mat? Well, I'm going to show you different ways. So you're not always just going to have this one mat, okay, this one size. So I say just print up a batch of these. Again, when you make up that sheet, keep it as a main copy. And then every time you do a gift album, just print out one sheet. And I do it on cardstock, not copy paper. Cut them out, and plus it gives your album a polished look when it's printed. Now you can handwrite it, but I will say computer generated gives a more professional look. And so then you can instruct the person that's getting the gift is that they just simply remove this, and then you put a 4x6 photo right on top, because this would already be adhered. This is your background, and they would just simply put their 4x6 photo there. Okay, so that is one tip. Do these 4x6 photo here little tags. It's like a little instruction book. Okay, so the next tip I want to say, oh, and by the way, you want to use removable, because if you use permanent, you know, you don't want that. So just remove. I always have just one of these removables in my inventory. Okay, so then the next tip would be when you're giving a gift album, okay, and it's all done, the best thing you can do is when you're giving a gift album is to add something to that gift. And what would that be? That would be a roll of these photo splits or little adhesive tabs. They come in a box, a roll, okay? And the reason why I suggest giving a box of these adhesives with your gift album is because the person who's receiving the gift album, they will have no idea how to adhere photos into this album. I've run into it many, many times. And so if you want your gift album to be enjoyed and used, go ahead and include a box of these. I think they're $2.99, $3.99, along with the gift. Because then when they open it and they'll see this mat, and with this little thing says 4x6 here, and you can instruct them, just pull this off, put on your 4x6 photo, and then they can go right to town. Okay? Do you remember using these back in the day? Oh my goodness. I'm so glad I do not use these we call them photo splits, but little adhesive squares. I'm so glad I don't use them anymore. Okay, and you want to know why. When my little girl was young, she was working on a school project, okay? It was a great big poster board of things. So she's like, Mom, I need something to put these down. So what did I hand her? What do you think I handed her? I handed her this. So I checked on her about an hour or so later, and she's out there practically in tears because she had no idea how to work this. I mean, I just assumed you would, you know, as crafters and scrapbookers, we just automatically think everybody knows how to use our tools. No, they don't. So that's why I suggest every time you give a gift album, add in a roll of these adhesive squares, okay? Along with this little instruction that says 4x6 photo here. Because if you want it to be enjoyed, you're going to have to help a little bit. And that would be my last tip as far as giving a gift album. Say to them, if you need any help getting your photos in there, let's just make up a little date and we'll get together and I'll help you. And that would be very much appreciated. And just tell them to print their photos in 4x6, get together, have some coffee. There you go. Okay? because you want your work to be enjoyed. Okay, so just offer to help if it's needed and give a box of these. Don't give liquid glue. Okay, you use these. Plus, it's the most economical way. Okay, so now let's get into some photo matting ideas. When you're making a gift album, whether you're doing 6x6, 8x8, 9x9, 8.5 by 11, 12 by 12, or whatever size you're working with, all these ideas will come into play. Okay, let me move my little things here. And if you have any questions with anything that I'm going over, just put it in the comment box and we'll go over it. And if you have any additional ideas for doing photo matting for albums or pages, please list it below so we can learn too. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to put these here. Well, that is not in frame. Okay. So, and this will be for whether your photos are vertical or horizontal. Okay, it won't matter. I'll show you why. Okay, so of course, I just said a minute ago, our basic mat. So you're going to be assuming that your gift recipient is going to be using 4x6 photos. So your mats have to be at least 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Again, if you have to write that number down, write it down, and that is what all of your mats. So basically what you're doing is, this is your photo. So say if you're sitting down and you're working on a page, you have to just pretend that this is your photo. And then you just work around it. Just don't cover anything, because you don't want to put embellishments in the corner, and you don't want to add, you know, too much bling and zing, because they have to have room for that photo to go on. Okay, so just the basic 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 photo mat, and just do it however you want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to give you some different ideas. That's just the very most basic way you can do it. Just add some borders and some stickers and some embellishments, but keep it off this 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mat. Okay, easiest thing to do. Now, what you can do then too is you can do, I'll make another pile here, is that you can do a double mat. Okay, let me get it off this pink. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, so again, you would have your 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mat, and then you would just go up another 1/4 of an inch for your double mat, and that's what this is. This is a double mat. So that would be 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. And again, they would just take their 4x6 photo, because you're assuming that's all they're going to know how to use. Okay, because that is the size most people get their photos printed. I know as scrapbookers and crafters, we play around with wallets and Polaroids and 4x4 and Instagram shots, but the basic person, that's not what they're using. Okay, so you have to go back to the very basics. And so then again, when you're doing this double mat, it doesn't matter whether you're doing a horizontal or a vertical. Okay, and you can put them in different orientations on your pages. So some of the pages you design can be like this, or you can put it down here, or you can put it up there, and you know, do some embellishing down here. Okay, so let's go to, and that's the most basic way to do, and very affordable. Okay, and it's not going to add a lot of bulk. Okay, so let's go to the next option. I'm going to keep those out in case I need those for reference. Okay, so the next option would be, of course, is photo corners. Okay, now you can get photo corners that already come with adhesive, or you can just get a pack of them, and then you have to, I don't want to say lick the back of them, but you have to add something wet behind it. So these are probably, I would say, the best things to use. So just be prepared though, when you put it down, they're not going to come up very easy. Okay, so again, pretend that this 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 is your photo, and that's what you're working from. Okay, and we're going to put these here. Let's go with some craft. I loved some craft. So you would just put those in there. And again, I would do all 4 sides. And here's another thing. When you're doing photo corners, there's no rule who says you have to do all 4. You can simply just do in the diagonals. You don't have to use all 4. Plus, that stretches your supplies. Okay, or you simply, if you know it's going to be on the left hand side of a page, just do those 2. Okay, and then on the opposite page, do it that way. Okay, and so then again, they're going to be putting their 4x6 photo, and you know, you're going to have this little, I can't stress how important this 4x6 is, and they're just simply going to put their photo in there. Okay, so that's the photo corner option. And again, you don't have to do all 4. You can just do 2 and then stretch your supplies. Okay, what is the next one? Oh, next one. Old school again. You ready for this one? Oh, my ear just got itchy. What does that mean when your ear's itchy? I don't know, but my ear just got itchy. Okay, so the next old school way is paper tearing. Okay, so again, this is your 4 1/4, okay? But when you do your cutting, you're going to have to allow for this paper tearing. So maybe do it like, you know, 4 by 7, something like that. And then what you're going to do is simply just tear. Okay, and that's another affordable way to do photo matting. Okay, because the photo won't be here. You're just going to be playing with this. Okay, so what I do when I was making gift albums, I would make sure I would have a 4 by 6, you know, on my desk, and then I knew every time I was working with a mat, I would say, okay, is this 4 by 6 photo going? And I would just give it a trial run. Okay, because sometimes you're just going to have to cut these longer, you're going to have to cut them shorter, that type of thing. And again, that doesn't have to be horizontal. It can be vertical as well. Okay, simply just make this mat bigger. Okay, you know this is a 4 by 6 photo. That's 4 1/4, and that's probably going to be about 6. Oh, that's probably about 7. You know, if you make big tears, you're probably going to need about 7 inches. Okay, so then what you can do, and that's pretty. I think that's fun. Okay, and then what you can do is tear another piece, and you can do double tearing. Is that not fun? Another way to do an affordable photo mat, and plus it doesn't create a lot of bulk because, you know, you're doing a whole album. So you can not just do 1 tearing, you can do 2. You can even, I don't know if you could get 3 in there, depends on how wide your tears are, but that's another option. And again, does it have to be all vertical? No, it does not. It can be horizontal. Okay? And every option I'm showing you, you can do it 4 different ways. Just rotate where you're putting them on your page. Okay? You can put it up here and leave down here for some journaling. Okay? So that is another option. Okay, what do we have next? Okay, up next is the offset option. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, for the offset, let's try this one. So I'm assuming we have our 4 by 6 photo, right? Okay. So this is my 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mat. And then what you're going to do is it's called the offset. Okay. So then what you do is you just take your mat, because this is what you're building from. Okay. And then you just offset on a block of pattern paper. Okay. Again, that works for vertical. And it works for horizontal photos. So it's called the offset method. And so you're simply just going to be working with your 4 1/4. And I'm going to write that down right now. 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And when you're doing photo or gift albums, and you have no photos, you're giving it blank, that is the measurement you want to know. Because they are going to be using a 4 by 6 photo. Okay, so everything you do as a mat needs to be at least that size. Okay, so that's the offset method. Okay, what do we got next? Ooh, okay, we're gonna break out some twine and floss and get some texture. Okay, let's get some palm leaves on here. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is we are going to do twine and floss, and you can do any type of embroidery ribbon. So I have these handy. I was making some tassel bows. If you want to see tassel bows, go look at a previous video. I was making tassel bows. So you can use any of this embroidery floss, twine, things like that. Okay, now you don't want to get anything too bulky because you are doing a whole album. Okay, so what you do is you just wrap it around and you tie it. As simple as easy can be. Okay, now you don't want to make this too tight and you don't want to put any adhesive here. This is all empty space. Or, you know, there's no adhesive. Why? Because when you take that, well, when they take that photo, 4 by 6, they're going to have that room to slide that in there and then put their photo adhesives on the back. Okay, so again, this works in the vertical format, and then it'll work in the horizontal. Okay, again, 4 different options. You can do it this way. You can do it this way. You can do it this way. So many options. So everything I'm showing you, just keep rotating it around your page. Okay, and that's what breaks up the monotony when you're doing a gift album. Now, here's what another little tip when I was doing gift albums and commissioned work. And commission work is basically businesses would hire me to create albums for them, and then they would put their products in, and it would be like a photo album for their customers to come in to see what they created. Okay, so with that, what I would do is I would find a design that I liked. And I would do that. I would find about 3 or 4 designs. And then every 3rd or 4th page, I would just go back and repeat it. Okay, so say if this was one design. Okay, every 3rd or 4th spread, I would do this design. And then I would come up with a second design. Okay, and then I would repeat that. So just come up with 3 or 4 designs and then just repeat it in your album. Okay, that's the best way. Because every time you do, you know, you're looking at your spread. Say if you're doing an 8 by 8. You don't want to have to come up with some new design every single time you flip the page. Okay, does that make sense? If you have any questions, just ask me. Okay, so then what are we going to do for the next one? Okay, the next one we're going to do is we're going to do our punches. Yes. Now, just use whatever punches you have. Okay, now I wouldn't say use a Halloween punch on, you know, a gift album or something, unless it's a Halloween gift album. So, you know, just do basic punch designs. Okay, so then what you're going to do, okay, now, what size is that? Okay, there's my photo, 4 by 6. So you have to accommodate, and this one gets a little tricky because each punch is different. See, that's not going to work. Okay, so what you have to do is you kind of have to punch out a design on your paper and then see how big your mat's going to have to be, because each punch is different. Each width of the punch is going to be different. So you just have to kind of do a sample to begin with, and you simply just punch. Okay, well, what are we going to play with? Let's play with this wood grain, wood plank. Okay, so you just simply play with your punches, and that way they can put their 4 by 6 photo, because remember, you're going to have that little indicator there, and they're going to know, oh, I just put my 4 by 6 photo there. Even if they don't take it off. You know, it's not going to hurt anything. Okay, so pull out the punches. Okay, that's what you can do. And again, does that have to be all horizontal? No, it does not, because right there, okay, I'm taking that off. Now we have vertical. Okay, again, just using your edges. You know, you punch your edge punchers. Okay, so that's that. Next one. Oh, fun. Guess what we're going to do now? Stitching. You're like, huh? Stitching? Yeah, but we're going to do faux stitching. Okay? Now, I just showed this on a video, and it would be video start to finish 21. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do faux stitching. Okay? So again, what size is this mat? Okay? What was that measurement I gave you? Okay? So with this, you're going to have to make it a little bit bigger. This is going to be 4 1/4. I'm sorry, 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. And why is that? Because you need that allowance for that stitching. So how are we going to do that stitching? Well, I'm not going to actually do it, but I'm going to show you what I used. So what I used was just simply a ruler, a tracing wheel, which you can find in the sewing department, very, very cheap, and some ink. And I just suggest using black, because then that will go with anything, or if you have a certain color, then just use that. Okay, and so what you simply do is you just load up some ink. Say this is open, you load up the ink and you just go to town, and that's how you create these edges. Okay, and like I said, go to my start to finish video number 21, and you'll see that I do a demonstration in that. Okay, now why would I suggest doing faux stitching? Well, first of all, it gives the homemade look, and you can't get anything better than homemade. Okay, and again, it will work for vertical. I mean, look at that. Isn't that just fun? And it's just simply these tracing wheels, okay? You don't need a stamp, you don't need a sewing machine, and it takes literally seconds to do, okay? And then again, you know, you can do it horizontal. Now remember what that mat size is. 4.5 by 6.5. Okay, because you got to have that little extra. If you're bored, you just run it. Use your ruler. You know how to do that. Okay, now here's another option. Say you don't want to do a tracing wheel. What can you do? Well, you just get, let me see if I can find it here. Hang on. Just use a fine point pen and do the same thing. Okay, a black journaling pen. And I love these Zig memory pens and these slick writers. That's about the only pens I really buy. Okay, this is a fine point and this is a 0.5. Okay, love them. And I've been scrapbooking a long time, and those are basically the only 2 black pens I ever buy. Okay, so that is the faux stitching. Okay, now if you want to and you have stamps, go ahead, break them out. Do some borders with your stamps. Have fun with it. Okay, so now what are we going to do next? Oh, okay, now we're getting into the fun stuff. And I can guarantee you everybody that's watching this has this in your inventory. Washi. We love it. We got to have it. But then we don't use it. Well, we're going to use it. Okay, and I think this is the one I used. Okay, so what are you going to do? Okay, so what mat are we working with here? Again, the 4.5 by 6.5. And again, you kind of just have to play, because if I was using this one, I could get away with the 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. But this is the 4.5 by 6.5 because my washi is kind of wide. And then you just simply put a strip across that, put on your photo that they are going to add, and look at that. Is that just not a wonderful mat? Yes, and you get to play with your washi. I mean, and it's endless what you can do with your washi that way. Again, there's a horizontal version. But let's break out a vertical. And again, you can do it 4 ways on your page. Just keep rotating and flipping and playing. Okay? So that is the washi. Again. So what are we going to do next? Okay. Next, I'll break out some punches. Okay. Now, the punches I say use are your most basic shapes. You have your circles, your stars, your hearts, that type of thing. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add shapes. Okay. So this is what we're working with. This is the 4 by 6 photo they're going to be adding. And you know what I say? Keep a few extra photos when you're creating pages so you can get a visual as to what they're going to be doing. Okay, so that would be what? That would be your, again, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then you just have some punch shapes, and you're simply going to create a border. Well, if I could just get those on there. I'm sorry, my hands are a little shaky today. That's just par for the course for me. Okay, so then what you simply do, I mean, is that just not the most simplest way? And again, affordable, and you're using your punches and you use scraps. Okay, it just doesn't get any easier than that. Okay, that's one hunk and kind of a circle punch. Okay, so use your shapes, and now here's my tip when you're doing shapes and you're using them for decoration for a photo mat. Do them in odd numbers. Okay, so you have 3 circles here. Let me move this paper. Okay, and I'll tell you why you want to do it in odd numbers. Okay, again, this is what you're playing with. You're designing your page. And again, I have some flowers here. Again, do basic shapes. So if you only see part of it, you know what it is. Okay, again, there's your 3. Okay, and you don't want to get into your mat too much because they're going to put their photo right there. I mean, is that just not... Yes, come to mama. I just love that. Okay, again, affordable. Use your scraps. It's not going to create a lot of bulk. And then again, what am I going to tell you? Horizontal. Okay, you can do it 4 ways. Okay, whether it's vertical or horizontal. And when you're doing an album, don't do it all in this orientation, because every photo that they add isn't going to be in this orientation. And don't put everything in this way, because your recipient isn't going to have just horizontal photos the whole way through your album. So, you know, you want to make sure you use a variety. So again, break out your punches, break out your scraps. And I wanted to get back to one more thought. Why do you want to do these in odd numbers? And this is a design trick I learned before I even was scrapbooking. Learned it from the Home and Garden Network, and that's old school, okay? So you do things in odd numbers. Again, my hands are shaky today. I'm sorry. It's when you do things in odd numbers, whether it's 3, 5, 7, 9, whatever, 13, is that your eye can always find the center, and it's just more pleasing to your eye, okay? And so let me just show you. We'll just add another one here for reference. Okay, there's 4. Now let's take one away. See how that's more pleasing to the eye? It's because in odd numbers, your eye can find the center. Okay, so that is the punched shapes. Again, use basic. You can use circles, stars, hearts, triangles, just basic shapes. You can even use rectangles. Okay, get 3 on there and go to town. And make them, they don't have to be all lined up. Make them kind of wonky. Just play. Okay? And then once you like a design, take a photo of it. And then when you make your next gift album, you already have a starting point. I did that all the time. I always photographed my pages, and so then I just would duplicate it on the next album. Okay, so what's the next one? We're on number 10. Oh, this is a fun one, and this is stuff I know that you all have. Oh, yeah. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to talk about... Oh, okay, so here's our... What size mat? Did you yell? Yes. 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Okay, we're not working with the photo, we're working with the mat when we're designing our pages for a gift album. So what are we going to do? We're going to use die cuts, project life cards, pocket page cards, frames, all kinds of stuff. Okay, so this is the time to break out those project life cards. Use them to your benefit. Okay, whether you have a vertical, okay, or we do a horizontal. Again, use those project life cards. Now, you want to get some mileage? Cut these puppies in half, okay? That's what you do, okay? And they already have the rounded corners. You're good to go, right? Okay, what's the next one? Okay, same thing, but give me a different piece of paper. Okay, again, this already has die cuts, you know, words and sayings and phrases. Use them. Again, you can use it in the vertical format or the horizontal. And again, you can move them up on your page, down on your page, whatever you want to do. So put these to good use. Okay, how about frames? Oh, yes. Okay, there's your 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mat. And let's just pretend this is what we're putting on there. Okay, so use your frames. And again, you can turn them. Okay, you can turn them however you want. Okay, and this is just an 8 by 8 size because that is the size that Judith was working with. Okay, again, you could cut those in half, get 2 for the price of 1. Okay, how about this? Oh, yes. Okay, this is what we're working with. How about doilies? Again, cut them in half. That doesn't matter. Vertical. What's the next word? Horizontal. Now, I wouldn't use a doily on a fishing page. Well, unless you're serving fish on a platter. Right? Okay, so you can do this one of 2 ways. You can cut them in half and get 2 for the price of 1. Or you see what just happened. You can actually put that in the middle of a page and, oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Or if your doily isn't big enough, cut it in half and then make it. Oh, isn't that just pretty? That's so simple. Add a little sticker, a little enamel dot. You're good to go. You're going to be whipping out pages in no time, my friend. Okay, so we got doilies, okay? And then you can use your doily punches, doily shape. You know, we have some of those great big doily punches. You can put them to your benefit. Again, you can cut them in half to get twice the amount. Vertical, horizontal, okay? So it don't have to be an actual doily. It can just be a doily or a circle shape, okay? Or ovals. You can also do ovals, okay? And then also, too, you have these bigger frames. Same concept, bigger frames. Now, I wanted to show something else when you're dealing with frames. Don't be afraid to double up frames. Give yourself a different look. Okay, say this isn't a fish page, okay? So you can just simply take, we all have hordes and hordes and stacks of these project life cards and frames, and stack them. Use more than one, okay? And then right there is most of your design right there. Okay, so that was that. Okay, so now, oh, we're going to get into some fun stuff. Okay, number 11. Guess what we're going to do? I'll get my stuff here. Okay, let's break out the embossing folders. Okay, now when you're using embossing folders in a gift album, because remember, we're going to be using mats. Okay, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to see the design once a photo is over. So you don't want something that's got a big design. You want a small design like dots or stars, or this is a basket weave and these are doilies. Okay, so anything that if you're only seeing a portion of it, and that's probably the glare, I'm sorry I just thought of that, that you can still see what the design is. Okay, so I went ahead and embossed those out so you could see what they are. Okay, there's that doily, there's the star, and there's the basket weave. Okay, so how can you do this? And we all have embossing folders, okay? And I don't use them very often, I'll be honest with you. So this is one way to do it. And so, you know, when you're using an embossing folder, you're not going to get this 4x6 size. See how that's going to be, you know, you don't, unless you have big embossing folders, then you can do this. But the normal embossing folder, you know, you're going to have to cut off that edge, you know, to get a nice look. So what you do is you almost basically do the offset approach. Okay? So that's what you can do. Just lay that down, cut them in half, layer them on both sides. You know, you can go up and do an offset like that. Okay? And then what you can also do with your embossing folders, and let's use the stars here. Yes, graduation, stars, there we go. So what you can do then is you can also use your corner rounder and you can corner round your embossing folder cuts. And again, oh, is that just not the nicest thing? Yes, it is. And again, whether it's vertical or horizontal, that's what you can do. Offset them, lay them on top just like that, cut it in half, get twice the mileage. And right there, that just adds another element and it didn't create too much bulk and it's very affordable because you can replicate it. Okay? So that's that. Okay. Next option is pattern paper. Again, pull out your scraps. So what are we going to do? Here's our 4x6 photo that they're going to use. So you would want to cut that mat. And this is going to depend on how big you want this and how big of a scrap you're going to do. So again, you would, you know, have your 4x6 photo here so you can play with. Cut out that mat. You would attach that scrap, you know, and make it match your project. And then you would just put one of those there and they know that they would put a 4x6 photo there. And you can do it in such a way where they would put it up right up against that or they would leave a little edge. Okay, so you can do that with pattern paper. Okay, and again, that doesn't matter whether it's vertical or horizontal. Okay, and you can do it at the top, you can do it at the bottom. Is that not just wonderful? Again, what I suggest is when you're making mats for your gift albums, have some 4x6 photos handy so then you can get the right measurements. Okay, and then you would have that right there. And again, you can rotate it to the different sides and flip them, rotate them. Okay, so that was 12. So now, you know, we got to do a baker's dozen, right? What do you think the last option would be? And when I make cards, this is an option I use a lot. Okay? It is your scoreboard. Okay, so let's crack out the scoreboard and have some fun. And like I said, this is something I do when I'm making cards. And it's an affordable way, especially when you're doing a lot of cards or mass producing cards. So you can go check out my video and it says 50 cards, gift sets, that video. And then there'll be more about that in that video. So how can we do some photo mats with our scoreboard? So again, we're going to take our 4x6 photos, you know, just as a little bit of a reference guide here. And you're going to take your mat. Now, you already know that that standard size mat I said was going to be 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. But to do scoring, you have to start with that 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. Okay? Because this score line is going to take up some room. Okay? So this is I'll put it on here. Four 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. Okay? When you're doing scoring, you have to start with that. And then you simply start by flipping your mat over, and I use the ball end of a stylus. I do not use this tool that comes with the scoring, especially this Martha Stewart one. I don't know, that point seems to tear into my cardstock a little too much. It's a little too abrasive. So I just use that first score, this very first one. And you can do that around the whole perimeter of your photo mat. Okay, simple can be. You see how pronounced that is? And then you're going to take, they will take their photo, and right there, there is a scored custom mat. Okay, now that's nice in and of itself, right? And so let me get my paper here. Okay, can you see that score line? It might not pull up too much. Let me just put it here a little quicker. Okay, so easy. I mean, it's 4 lines. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, and again, horizontal or vertical, you know, I'm going to say that till I'm done with this video. And so again, you would put that little 4x6 photo here, instruction mat. And like I said, even if they just leave that there, it's not going to create that much problem for the album. Okay, so that's how you do that. Now, nothing wrong with that. But let's do a double score. Okay, so you know we had this 4.5 by 6.5. So our double score would be 4 3/4, and you can see 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So really what you're doing is you just keep going up in 1/4 increments. So again, what you would do is you would use this first line, just the same thing we did previously. Okay, and this, you can do this scoring technique. Actually, I probably use the scoreboard for more of a technique than a fold, if that makes sense. Okay, so then you did that around the whole perimeter. Okay, that very first little groove. And then you're going to go in and do the second groove. Okay, so think of it. You're doing a second score, so you're going into the second groove. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, so then, of course, you know, I'm a big fan of helping the gift recipient what to do, because I'll be honest with you, I have given gift albums and I know that they're still sitting on some people's shelves and they're still empty. Okay, so put that little instruction there for them and then offer to help them. And so then, can you see, now we have 2 score lines. And how that would look, let's get some palm leaves. I don't know what it is. I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready for a Caribbean vacation. Yeah, someone send me money. Let's go on a Caribbean vacation together. Oh, a scrapbooking Caribbean vacation. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Okay. Excuse me. Back to the thing at hand. So again, there's that double score. And so you know what? Once you have a product like this, this has paid for itself many times over. Especially if you're doing gift albums or cards, this would be the one thing I'd say, other than a nice trimmer. You don't have to spend a lot of money on trimmer, but I'll talk about that in another video. Is get yourself a scoreboard, and I would get one in this size because it's a nice work surface. Okay, so there's your double score. Okay, and again, you know, I'm going to say again, you can use that in whatever orientation you need it to be. And then also too, when you're working with mats, don't be afraid to use double mats. Okay, and offset your your mats. Have fun with that. Again, so what, this is just a visual, but this is what you would be working with. This right here. Okay, so you might want to do a smaller one and then a bigger one on the outside. Don't be afraid to offset. You know, and then just leave a little bit of room here for some journaling, a little embellishment. And then, if you even want to take it one more further, let's just keep on going here. Okay, I'm having too much fun playing, but, you know, this is a tutorial. We can do whatever we want, right? That's what I say. Bring it on. Okay, watch me not find them. I'm getting to them. Okay, so you'd adhere those down, and then why could you not use a couple photo corners? And be careful with these. Make sure you have these adhered down, and then put your photo corners on. Okay, and that's why I always say when you're working with matting or photos, just put adhesive, a couple strips in the middle. Don't go to the edge, because then you can play and add labels and decoration. So why could you not do that? Well, yes, I think you could. Okay, definitely more options, more fun. Okay, isn't that pretty? So then what you would do on the reverse side, so this is your left page, this is your second page, you would just do the exact same thing. No, I got too big. These are too big. Okay, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, and then just replicate that. Just replicate it on this side. Okay, so there we go. I could stay here and play all day if you left me, but we have work to do, right? Okay, so then that was your first score, your double score. Okay, now you know I got something else up my sleeve. The last one, a triple score. Yes, triple the fun. So again, now what size would this be? This would be 1/4 increment up. So this would be a 5 by 7, and you can see 5 by 7. So again, what are we going to do? We're going to take the ball end of a stylus, or you can use the tool that comes with your scoring board, and you're just going to go first measurement, second measurement, third. So just remember, if you want 3 score lines, just go in, you're on your third little, I call them gutters. Okay? And you can do it all at one time, or you can just do one and go the whole way around the perimeter. Whatever you're comfortable with. It's as easy as that. Okay, here we go. And again, look at that. Now tell me that that does not, look, let me get something pretty. Tell me that that doesn't look like a polished edge. Now when you're doing scoring, don't do it when you're mad. Because if you're really going to town there, you will rip a hole in your cardstock. Not that I would know that, but it does happen. Okay, so again, this isn't what you would have. This is what you'd be designing with. Okay, so there's your triple mat. Let's add in some punch shapes. This would be the nice, right here, would be a nice design for the beginning of an album or the ending of an album, where you would take this triple score mat and you would definitely, right there, that would be a perfect, simple, affordable page for the front of an album or the ending of an album. Okay, so this is how you would do your page. I mean, and here's the thing, if you use pretty patterns, you don't need a lot of product, because let the pattern speak for you. Okay, and then they would put their photo right there. Oh, yes, simple, simple, simple. Okay, so that was my baker's dozen ideas for photo mats. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you have any ideas for some photo mats, please list them below so we can learn as well and we can all have fun, right? Okay, so if you have any more questions on gift albums, you know, again, just ask. I've done many over my 22 years of scrapbooking. I've done many. Okay, so I will say, offer to help. That way you know your album will be get used and loved. And I want to add one more thing when you're doing a gift album, because you know it's your work. It is time that you had put, you know, showed love for someone, that you put that time, energy, and effort into creating them a gift album. So what I suggest is using one of your journaling pens, and somewhere in the back of your album, put your initials somewhere. You can even put the year, okay? Because I feel that, you know, it's a work of art, so you should put your signature on it, and someone will see that and appreciate it someday. So say I don't have an album to show you, because really, I don't do small albums anymore. I don't do themed albums anymore. I have defined my style. I only do 12 by 12s. And so let's just say this is an album here. Okay, well no, let's just do this. Say this is your album and you're giving as a gift. So you could open up the back. Of course I got addresses there. You could take one of these pens and in a small fashion, okay, and use something, especially these slick writers, especially in a fine point. This is a bold point. I love these fine points, slick writers. You can get a set of these at Hobby Lobby. And I say use a coupon, and you get a fine, medium, and a bold print. And these slick writers, I use them more than just in my scrap room. Okay? And so then this fine point. And you know what? Just put your initial. And do it small. Don't do it on the whole honking page. You can even put it in a heart, whatever you want to do. Put your signature on your work, okay? When I used to teach scrapbooking, and every time we were done with a class, I would make the class members flip their layouts over and put their sign it and date it. It was just something, because I think it's important, okay? Especially when you see someone's signature. Okay, so that is my photo matting ideas. I hope you have gained some knowledge. I hope you have had some fun. And I also hope it has sparked some ideas. And like I said, some of these are not new for some of you, but it may spark an idea for something else you may be working on. Okay, and I definitely want to stress again, using this 4x6 photo here, little caption in your gift albums, will just be one way to help the recipient say, oh yeah, I can do this. I can simply put my photos in an album, because it's very daunting if you're not a crafter or a scrapbooker. Okay, and again, add a roll of these. So that is my photo matting ideas, and I'm sorry this probably got long, but that's okay. We're all having fun. Okay, so come back to RTS, because you never know what we're going to learn. Bye.